How do you feel when you put on that mask? Are you hiding from the world? Or do you want the world to hide away from you?
Very excited. We are here with one of the most interesting looking new VR titles that has been revealed here at E3 2016. It is Batman Arkham VR. We're all familiar with Batman, we're all familiar with the Arkham series. This is an all new take on what we've seen before, and I am joined by Sefton from Rocksteady. So we can talk about the nitty gritty, what's going on, how did we get here, and why VR? It's probably a good enough place to start. Why VR for Batman?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest, when we finished Arkham Knight, I said on record that was our last Batman game because kind of felt that we'd told the stories that we wanted to tell. And then the opportunity to work on a VR game come up. And it's a different way to tell the story, something much more cerebral and focused on the detective aspect of Batman, the world's greatest detective. And really placing you in Wayne Manor, in the Batcave, inside Gotham. It felt like another way to approach the same source material, but tell a completely new type of story in that world. So the story is about a serial killer who's on the loose within Gotham, and Batman's basically tracking this character down and trying to figure out who it is, and that's essentially what you're going to play across the course of the story. So it's a mystery. We don't want to give away too much, but it's kind of figuring out, and it's really in that tradition of the best Batman murder mystery stories.
And for people who have played the Batman Arkham series before, they know that it's pretty hard-hitting, it's gritty, it's dark. Can we expect all of the same sort of feeling and aesthetics this time around?
Yeah. I mean, one of the great things about VR is that it's very emotional and very. It's something that I always say. It's kind of involuntary. Like once you put on that headset, you kind of really feel in that location, in that world. You really feel that power of the universe. So it enables to tell a story that's very emotionally powerful and psychologically very powerful. And of course, the Arkham VR stories are always about the psychological aspect of Batman, so we've obviously talked a lot about that as well and delve into that.
And you are literally looking through the eyes of Bruce Wayne and Batman, depending on what he's wearing at the time.
Yeah, I mean, you are Batman, and that's one of the things that's really unique about it. We were sort of almost surprised by ourselves because VR gives you that amazing sense of presence in the world, but actually having that sense of presence combined with the fact that you're a character that you know and love, it's like a really different kind of role play. So you are Batman, you look around, people are addressing you, as Batman, Alfred's speaking to you, as Bruce Wayne, as Batman. So it's a really kind of like different experience, We actually see people, because you go through the suit up sequence in the game, and they put on the suit and then they kind of like just stand there and sort of chest back and it's a very almost involuntary thing again, like you feel like Batman when you suit up and get ready. So yeah, it's very cool.
Are there any other familiar faces that we'll be encountering as we go through this VR experience?
Yeah, there's going to be some villains that you come across. So you've heard Joker speaking in the trailer, so it's a pretty safe bet to say that Joker's in there. We have Nightwing in there. So a number of friendly faces as well, a number of villains that you're going to meet and come across. You're going to get to go and see Penguin as well and interrogate Penguin. So yeah, there's a number of familiar faces, but a completely new story. And it is in the canon, it is in the Arkham series. But kind of part of the fun is figuring out exactly what's happening when you play the game. So I don't want to give too much away.
This is the first VR title that you guys have worked out at Rocksteady, isn't it? What's that challenge been like?
Yeah, weird, because it's such a different medium. And I think what we found very quickly was that the things that work on a 2D screen are not necessarily the things that are the most effective in the world. And what VR gives you is something that's very powerful and unique, but it doesn't replace traditional 2D gaming. I think the two things sit side by side. So a lot of the rules and skills and gameplay things that we've learned over the years, we've had to kind of revisit and say, okay, well, we don't do that. You're not going to be flying around and flipping upside down in free flow combat, but you are going to be in these environments and really feeling the atmosphere around you. And what can we do with that? How can we create a game that's very emotionally powerful? It's a very different experience and a much more powerful experience in some ways, because you're there, you're not playing through an avatar on the screen, it is you in that world.
That does also raise an interesting question. This is for PlayStation VR, and so how do you handle things like You know, Batman won't necessarily stand in the same place. He does have combat where he might, as you say, flip upside down. How do you get around the sort of restrictions of your viewpoint being much more fixed?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that we had to design from the ground up, and that's one of the advantages with this, is that it's not a game we were making and then we put a headset into it. We were able to design literally from minute one for what gives the best possible VR experience. So, you know, we're not focused on the combat, for example, because we focus much more on the things that work really powerfully in a VR experience. And obviously we've done a lot of the free flow combat, the Predator gameplay in the previous game, so it gives us a nice opportunity to approach that story from a different angle. So it is more about investigating crime scenes, uncovering the murderer, that kind of methodical approach, and seeing this process through Batman's eyes. So yeah, it is different, and I think because it's designed specifically for VR, you're getting the best out of that experience. It's a linear story. It's about 60 minutes long, kind of give or take, and then probably about 60 to 90 minutes of bonus content unlocked once you've beaten the story. So all the environments have additional content that appears in those to play through again. So there's lots of stuff to do, but we decided we wanted to keep saying very powerful and shorter rather than drag it out. Like, we could have extended the playtime, but for us it was much more important to have an intense experience and a powerful experience. And VR as well is not something that I think to begin with everyone's going to put on and play for like 10 hours. We'll get there, I think, because I think you get used to it, but you know, we wanted it to be a very welcoming experience, so it's a very friendly experience. If this is the first VR game you ever play, it's a game that's specifically designed not to give any kind of negative effects. So like, yeah, we really wanted it to be a game that everyone could pick up and enjoy.
Does it even matter? After all, if you find a mask that fits, you never need to take it off.